You're listening to the Sad Boy Podcast.
Yeah, sad boy, yeah.
Very, very sad. Very sad.
Welcome back to the Sad Boy Podcast. It's just me again. It's very lonely, actually. I'm your host, Russell. Lucas is the other host, but he is actually very, very busy right now. So at the time of this recording, he's actually studying for an exam, and apparently he has like a few more assignments to do. So he'll be back next week, I think. Well, he said he's busy until Thursday. So you guys are stuck with me again. So last time I talked about K-pop dramas, or not K-pop dramas, K-dramas. What the fuck is a K-pop drama? Anyways, so I actually found a new drama on Netflix. I've only watched like one episode so far. I'm like a bit into the second one. It's called Rugal or something. I'm actually gonna search it up right now. I think it was called Rugal. It actually has another actor that it's called Rugal. So it actually has another actor that I actually really like. He used to play like the secondary character. And they think he went to the army, and then now he's been back for a while. His name is, let me click details. Choi Jin Hyuk. I like his acting. He looks a bit older though. I don't know why, but he's not that old, I don't think. But this drama is kind of more like action-y. It's kind of I think it's like their attempt in making like a superhero kind of drama. So basically it's like about this organization called Argos or whatever, and they're kind of like the mafia or triad or whatever, but they're trying to like get someone into like the government or something, and they're like killing witnesses whenever there's a crime or whatever. And then there's this police officer. He kind of like gets involved, and then the triads, like, they kind of send people and like they murder his wife, and then like they stab his eyes or something, and then he gets like bio upgrades. He gets like artificial eyes that kind of like scan, like they're trying to do like almost like he's the good guys are kind of almost like cyborgs kind of, right? So I actually told Lucas about this drama. I was like, I think those parts were probably made by Samsung or something. So I don't know, man. The drama seems kind of cool though. I think it'd be a good pastime, I guess. I don't think there's gonna be really a lot of like lovey-dovey shit in there. I think this is more focused on like action. So like right now there's only 6 episodes out, and each episode's like an hour long. So I think that's definitely worth checking out. People are actually telling me Itaewon Class on Netflix is pretty good, but I don't know. It hasn't really shown me anything that kind of pulls me in, But yeah. There's like another one called Hospital Playlist. I don't know how I feel about that. There's like an actor that I like in there too, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, this is like a time where, there's so many things to watch on Netflix, and I feel like there's more and more time right now because, for those that don't know, actually, the Ontario government actually extended our state of emergency until like May 11th, so we have like an extra 2 weeks again to do whatever the fuck we want. So it's kind of nice to have this extra time, but at the same time it's like, I'm getting so sick of being at home. I kind of want to go out and see you guys and chill with you guys and drink with you guys. But no, we're still like stuck here. I actually made a post today on the group regarding like a Netflix watch party, because a lot of people have been talking about the Spanish thriller movie called Platform. From what I've seen and what I know, I think it's something about like your prisoners are like, you know, they each have their own level or something, and like the people at the top get to eat while the people at the bottom are starving or whatever. And then people are saying like it's kind of like trying to mirror like what society is. I'll go in depth into what I think about it probably next episode after we watch it, because I did suggest to have like a Netflix watch party for this weekend. So I'll try to get that set up for everyone. But enough with Netflix. I actually wanted to go into talking about gaming stuff for a little bit. So I know there's still a really, really big hype around Animal Crossing. I mean, I see it on all the Subtle Asian Trades page, Subtle Asian Lawnmowers right now. So with all this hype, a part of me is kind of like, yo, I kind of want to try this game out. But the issue is I don't have a Switch. So I actually start looking online for a Switch. Looking on Amazon, EB Games, Best Buy, Walmart, The Source, Staples, like any store that anyone could think of. But it's all sold out. And I actually talked to Lucas about this as well, and it's mainly because we're all in quarantine, which makes sense, you know. We're all stuck at home. We're all looking for shit to do. So I get why everyone bought like the Nintendo Switch. They bought Animal Crossing. Like I think there was like a smaller kind of family owned store that sells video games, and they don't sell the console, but they trade it, or like people go and trade in the console for other stuff. So they for sure don't have the console. But a lot of the games are actually like almost being sold out, and I think even like EB Games, like all the stores that I named earlier, I think a lot of the games are being sold out as well. So I've actually been very disappointed that the Switch has been sold out, because this is a time where I'm like, yo, I have time, I can afford one right now, but it's all sold out. And then some people will be like, oh, you can just buy secondhand, right? So I went on eBay, and these people are selling the Switch for like $650 or more, and it only costs like $400 like before tax from store. And you know, the price gouging, I get people are pissed off about like the toilet paper stuff. People selling a roll of toilet paper for like $20 or something. That was stupid. But even now it's kind of like, yo, even like for the Nintendo Switch, like you guys are marking it up by like $200. And the thing is, when I go onto Amazon, because Amazon sometimes they have sellers that sell used products, right? So even some of those people, just the neon colored Nintendo Switch, that one's like, I think the lowest price I saw was maybe like $690 or something, and that's excluding the shipping cost, because this isn't with Prime. This is like a third party seller. So other than those ones, I saw a lot of Switches priced at like $750 or higher, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, is it really worth that $750? And I think people are actually willing to pay for it. On Kijiji though, I was lucky. I saw 3 people selling it for around like $500, like the range was around like $500 to like $600 for a Switch. I kind of caved and like messaged them, but they didn't reply me yet, so it's fine, because I kind of messaged them like an hour ago before I recorded this, and this is like right now it's like 1 a.m. So you know, some people are still working from home. Maybe they went to bed because they gotta work from home. Anyways, the prices of these Switches, like it's crazy. So I actually posted an Instagram story a few days ago, and I was saying like how, you know, finding a Nintendo Switch right now is harder than looking for the Infinity Stones. Okay, and Thanos took like years to find the Infinity Stones, man. And Nintendo Switch right now, it's all sold out. it's like more rare than the freaking Infinity Stones. So one of my really, really close friends, not insult, he saw it and he messaged me. He's like, "Oh, you can actually borrow like mine if you want," but he's all the way in Milton. So I actually told him, like, you know what, it's fine, because Lucas actually got 2 copies of Final Fantasy VII Deluxe version. So this is kind of like going on a tangent from Animal Crossing, but I actually pre-ordered Final Fantasy VII on Amazon, like, I think like a year or two ago when I first ordered it, or when they first announced it, actually. It was in my pre-order thing for the longest time, but then like a few weeks ago when I checked, that pre-order was gone. The good thing is for the Amazon, they don't really charge you anything until they actually ship the product out, for pre-orders at least. So I didn't get charged, but I was kind of annoyed because I was like, I've been waiting for this Final Fantasy VII Remake since they announced it. But all of a sudden, it was gone from my Amazon account. Like, the pre-order was gone, it just disappeared. And I was like, what the fuck? I was annoyed. But then Lucas apparently told me that he got 2 copies of the deluxe version, and originally I pre-ordered just the standard version. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I do like the steel case that it comes with for the deluxe version. I was like, okay, you know what? Out of the whole Final Fantasy series, to be honest, I actually like really only know Final Fantasy VII the most. And even when I say the most, it's not really a lot, because I actually never really grew up playing Final Fantasy. I just knew of the series. And Final Fantasy VII, I remember I watched a movie. It was an animation back then, and then I played the game Crisis Core on PSP, which was basically like the prequel to the events of Final Fantasy VII, where it showed like where did Cloud grow up, like he was a kid, and like the guy, his name was Zach Fair or something, like he was the one that kind of like took Cloud in, and like I don't remember if he trained him or not, but like the story was pretty sad. You guys should definitely check out Crisis Core. Obviously you guys can't play it on PSP, but I would suggest kind of YouTubing like the story of it, because he kind of sacrifices his life to protect Cloud, and then Cloud then goes on to the events of Final Fantasy VII. I think it was something like that. So I've been busy playing Final Fantasy VII. I actually went to see Lucas to pick this up. So it was really nice to kind of see someone other than my family during this quarantine time. Excuse me. Not saying that seeing my parents aren't fun. It's just with being at home this whole time, like, it's nice to see someone other than your family. So it was nice to see him. But we kept 6 feet distance, social distancing. But yeah, I've been playing Final Fantasy VII thanks to Lucas. So I was actually surprised because I didn't know about this. So Final Fantasy VII, apparently they're releasing it in parts. I used to follow like gaming news like religiously. I stopped now because I have other priorities and responsibilities to deal with, so I kind of like took a step back from keeping myself up to date. But apparently they're releasing this in parts. So the game that's been released right now, the Final Fantasy VII Remake, that apparently is only about Midgar. Like, it's open world in Midgar, and apparently that's only 15% of what the original game was. And this is already like 30 to 40 hours of gameplay if you finish all the side missions and everything, which when it comes to video games like this, the games that I really, really like, I'm like a completionist. So like I will do everything I can to get 100% on these things. So far I've played like only a little every day because I've actually been doing a lot of other work and other stuff in my spare time, which also includes MapleStory, but also MapleStory I just leave on the side now. But so far Final Fantasy VII, the character models are really nice. Like, I think it has been worth the wait. But again, I've only played, I think my game time right now is only 3 hours. Like, every day I maybe play like a very little bit, which kind of sucks. but I think this kind of it's kind of more my fault because I wake up pretty late. But anyways, back to Animal Crossing. I just like I became so turbulent that I almost forgot what I was talking about in my story. So back to my friend my friend from Milton that I was talking to about the Switch. So he was willing to lend me his, but I said that, you know what, it's fine. You know, I got Final Fantasy VII to play, and like I'm taking a lot of online lectures right now for a lot of different things. So that's also keeping me busy. So he actually messaged me like a few days later, saying that he was gonna sell his Switch. So I was like, okay, cool. So he was asking me how much to put it up for, and I'm like, I'm not sure, but like, you know, all these people are selling it, like they're overselling it, like the prices are insane. So then he told me he was actually gonna sell his for $900. It included 4 games though and a controller, and I was like, okay, that, like, I was kind of tempted to buy it, but it was kind of like the first edition. I was like, okay, you know what, like, it's fine. Like, right now the Switch is not, you know, a necessity in my life. It's more of like a really, really big want. And you know, I'm someone that's very tempted to splurge when I really, really want something. But I still didn't. So apparently my friend told me that some guy actually is willing to buy his stuff for $850, and that's still like, you know, the price is just so high. Like, what the hell? It's literally just a gaming console. And the thing is, like, when it first came out, I didn't get the Switch when it first came out because I thought, like, in terms of the price, I was like, yo, this device looks like it's worth like only $300 or $350 at max. But they were selling it for like $400. And now during this time, kind of like, shit, should have got one. She really should have. But at the same time, like, I know that it's actually very tempting to spend money, especially if you're unemployed and you're on the emergency response benefit package from the government. Because, come on, man, it's like $2,000 a month. It's cool. It's very tempting to spend. Like, I'm really, really tempted to buy like a lot of shit right now. But I know that even if I buy shit online, it may not, you know, ship to me soon or whatever, right? Because, you know, I like cars and I want to buy some parts for my cars, but I don't know, it's not worth it as well, right? So I'm very tempted to spend money, but I'm trying my best not to, because I know that after this whole virus thing is over, there's gonna be more stuff to pay, right? Especially all the bills that, you know, people are delaying, and so on. So I've been trying to, you know, convince myself to not spend, and also because Sony did announce PlayStation 5. So they haven't really shown like what it looks like yet, but they showed the controller, which I think it looks futuristic, I guess. I'm not that up to date with the PS5 news either, so kind of just speaking from just my initial impressions from seeing it. So yeah, I think it looks very futuristic. I'm actually gonna Google this right now. So this PlayStation 5, so it's actually on the Sony website right now, and apparently they're still set on releasing it at the end of this year. There's actually not. Oh yeah, the new controller is called the DualSense. It looks, in all honesty, it kind of starts looking like the Xbox controller. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, I guess the white one looks cool. Like, it looks pretty futuristic. I would buy it. I mean, I'm probably gonna buy the PS5 because it's PlayStation. I've always been like a PlayStation guy. Never really got into Xbox because I think so when I was following gaming news a lot. So like back when, you know, the PS4 and like the Xbox One was announced and everything. I think my opinion at the time was that the PS4 was more of an actual gaming system, while the Xbox was kind of leaning more towards a multimedia system. Not saying that the Xbox One sucks at gaming. It has its benefits, but it just felt more like it was leaning towards a multimedia path rather than, PS5 focus on gaming. And I know PS5 has like, they have multimedia stuff too, but to me PS4 was more on the gaming path. So no matter what, I still like the PS4. I grew up with PlayStations growing up. I have all of them actually. Yeah, I have all of them. It's just the PS2 broke. I think it was like the laser that reads the disc, but it was like expensive at the time to fix it, or like it wasn't worth it. I think the cost of fixing it was actually like the price of the PS2 almost. So it was like, okay, whatever, like it's junk. We're just gonna leave it. I still have a PS3, PS4. I'm still playing since I'm playing Final Fantasy VII. But it may be the last game I'm gonna buy for PS. Oh shit, no, I pre-ordered Avengers. The Square Enix Avengers game that's coming out September, I think. That one I actually pre-ordered the deluxe version. So I rarely pre-order deluxe versions because I'm always just like, what am I gonna do with the collectibles, right? Like whatever it comes with, like what am I gonna do with it? So with Final Fantasy VII, I did it for the steel case. The art book, I'm kind of... Originally, I was thinking like, there's no point for me to get the art book, but now that I look at the art book, it does serve as, I guess, inspiration to stories that I write. Because I think a lot of the stories that I write are pretty heavily inspired from pop culture and all the other things we enjoy. So Marvel movies, DC movies, TV shows, even Star Wars. Like I think it's the concept and ideas of all those things that kind of help inspire my stories. So the art book, surprisingly, it kind of helps give me ideas for character designs, I guess, for visuals. Other than that, there's also a CD with the soundtrack for Final Fantasy VII, which, I mean, I don't really use a CD player anymore. And I'm pretty sure if I go on Spotify, I can probably find the playlist as well for Final Fantasy VII Remake. So I guess that's more of just like a collectible kind of thing, right? So I pre-ordered the Avengers PS4 game from Square Enix in the deluxe version. But yeah, I actually forgot what I was talking about. My mind has... I don't know. Again, it's like 1 a.m. So like my mind shuts off. It's 1 a.m. But yeah, I was talking about gaming, right? Yeah, I was talking about gaming because I was talking about Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, I pre-ordered Avengers. But yeah, it's probably that one's gonna probably be the last PS4 game I get. With the Switch, I feel like by the time that I get the Switch, the hype might be over and I maybe would have wasted money. I'm not sure. So apparently Nintendo, the reason why we're on short supplies right now is because Nintendo's factories in Asia, I think it was like China and Korea, they were shut down during the virus situation, and they've only recently like reopened. So I think I read an article where it said like Nintendo's pushing more stock of the Nintendo Switch for US and Europe first. Apparently Japan is not going to get any for a while, so they're prioritizing the US and Europe. Apparently we're gonna get stock at the end of April, which is perfect. Like I'm still willing to get one only because I think the Switch works really well as a console for group parties, kind of. So for the Salt members, the new members that don't know, the new people that are listening, I actually used to throw a lot of house parties at my house, quite a bit actually, a lot of house gatherings. So like, I know the PS4 has like Jackbox, and Jackbox is fun, we've had members like Nassif, shout out to Nassif. He hosted Jackbox, Lucas hosted Jackbox. And I think Jackbox is something that everyone can enjoy. It's very fun. I like doing like inappropriate dark humor on Jackbox. I always love that kind of humor. I'm making myself sound like a horrible person. Probably am. So Jackbox is fun on PlayStation, but I think with the Switch, like I think it's always fun to play like Overcooked, right? So like when you're playing Overcooked, everyone wants to just Gordon Ramsay everyone, like, you fucking donkey, like you just start yelling at your friends like crazy. That was always the fun part of Overcooked, but it was actually like it is actually a pretty hard game to play sometimes. But I think besides from Overcooked, it was like Super Smash, right? So actually that's the thing with Super Smash. I'm not a huge fan of Super Smash, but I feel like it's like a good group party game kind of, or Mario Party. Those are pretty fun. But I think my main goal of getting a Switch is kind of for Animal Crossing. I actually thought about it though. I have a 3DS, and technically I can buy Animal Crossing on my 3DS to try it out first. But it's not the same as the new Animal Crossing. I see so many posts from Subtle Asian Traits or whatever, and like so many of it is like Animal Crossing. It's just it makes you really want to play it, right? And I don't know. I guess I'm very easily influenced. No, that's not true. But it's Animal Crossing. Because I've asked people, like I think in a few episodes ago, Erica even said like Animal Crossing is like kind of like Harvest Moon, and like I grew up loving Harvest Moon. I really like the farming stuff, and like it was just really fun. And now there's Animal Crossing, and I'm like, I kind of want to play it, but at the same time, like I'm pretty preoccupied right now, so I don't know. Like I already don't have much time to play Final Fantasy, which like I'm already kind of annoyed at, because I do want to sit and game, but at the same time I feel like shit afterwards. I actually want to ask all you, what do you guys miss the most right now? While being quarantined, what do you miss about being outside? Whether it be food, or activities that you do, because me and Lucas were actually talking earlier, and like I think almost every conversation we have nowadays, it's always about food. So like we really miss Korean barbecue and Japanese barbecue. Korean barbecue, I feel like you kind of have to go to like an actual Korean restaurant to get Korean barbecue. Or you can go to like Korean Grill House or Chaco's, but those are kind of like they're not real KBBQ. That's like that. I think that's enough to satisfy your craving, but it's not. I don't know if it satisfies my craving. No, actually, I don't think it does. Actually, no, it does, because the thing was like, okay, so Korean Grill House actually has like, I remember they had like a discounted price after 10 p.m., which made it more worth it, right? And like, just thinking about it makes me really hungry right now. So I actually prefer JBPQ, and a lot of people go to Gyubi. I like Gyubi too. Their creme brulee is very delicious, but I personally really like Gyuhito. It's at like Silver Star Boulevard area, like really close to P Mall. And the only reason I really like that is because they have pork intestines, and like a lot of people don't eat it, but it's so good. Like when you're frying it and you hear that sizzle, and I hope I really make all of you hungry just listening to this, but that sizzle of the pork intestines, like it's so good. Like I really miss Gyuhito. I really miss eating pork sausage actually. Damn it, I'm really hungry right now. Damn it. And I kind of want midnight food. Have you guys been like eating midnight snacks too? Like, I feel like nowadays, whenever I get hungry after midnight, for some odd reason, I go up to the kitchen and I just like start eating peanut butter. And Lucas has been like giving me shit for this like the whole time. Like he's always like, why the fuck are you eating peanut butter at like 2 a.m? Peanut butter's like, it's divine. It's heavenly. All right, like you get a spoonful of that peanut butter and you just put it in your mouth. That peanut butter is just delicious. Like I just love peanut butter, and like before I would like put it on like bread and like eat it, but that's extra carbs, right? So I thought about, you know what? I'm just gonna put like a spoonful of peanut butter in my mouth, and then like you just can't stop. And then I start eating it more, and then like sometimes like I come back down to my room, and like I've had like 5 to 6 spoons of peanut butter, but it's so good. It's like divine. It's heavenly. And it's because like I wake up so late that I don't really eat breakfast, right? So like I think growing up, some breakfast foods for me that my mom would make me would just be like, you know, putting waffles or toast in the oven and then just smother it with like peanut butter and butter, and that's really fattening. So like now I just do the peanut butter, but like, oh man, I just love peanut butter. And the thing is, so in the US, was it Trader Joe's? I don't remember, but like there is a kind of like a supermarket in the US, and they sell cookie butter. So I didn't know what the hell cookie butter was. I was like, what the fuck is that? It sounds like the first thing I thought it was like chocolate chip cookies, but like in the form of like, you know, butter, like peanut butter. I didn't know what to expect. So like my friend in Milton, like him and his wife actually like, they actually brought me to the US because there was one time where we went to the US to buy stuff, and we were coming back, or they were going to pick up something, and then they were coming back from the US. So I went with them, and I went to the market, and I got these. So I bought 2 jars of these cookie butter. One was like crunchy, one wasn't. I finished the crunchy one already, but I can tell you, it actually tastes more like gingerbread cookie butter on toast. And I think the best is when like you toast the bread. It's still really hot, and you kind of like put that cookie butter on it, and it starts melting from the heat. It becomes liquidy, gooey, and like, oh my god, when you eat it, like it was really good. But then recently I've learned to look at like, you know, the nutrition facts and, you know, what it's made of, right? So I was looking at it, and, you know, most of the cookie butter is really just like, it's just sugar and fat. Like the reason I eat spoonfuls of peanut butter, which is already weird on its own to some people, but like there's at least 3 grams of protein in there, right? So like at least there's something in it for me. But then for the cookie butter, like it just tastes good. And then when I was looking through my pantry earlier, actually, I found 2 jars of Nutella. And I don't even know what to do with Nutella right now because I don't even feel like eating Nutella. When I wake up, I usually go and like make instant noodles for, it's not even breakfast, it's fucking lunch. It's like I eat at like 1 or 2 p.m. So like, I don't really get to eat bread except when it's midnight, after midnight. That's weird. Why do I do this to myself? Why do I eat bread and peanut butter? No, peanut butter is good, but not with bread. No, bread's good too. No, but I like peanut butter. And I think a few years back, actually, when I was even younger, I made this thing where I was like, I think I learned it from like I learned it when I was in Hong Kong, I think. So like, it's kind of like, well, in Hong Kong they use like kind of egg waffles. It would have peanut butter, right? And then they would add kind of like sugar. And I think the sugar worked really well with the peanut butter because then it makes it kind of like a sweeter peanut butter. And you're eating it, it's so good. So like, I remember growing up, like sometimes I would like get a piece of toast, I would toast it, put that peanut butter on it, watch it melt from the heat of the bread and toast, sprinkle some salt, sugar over it. I can't speak right now. Put some sugar over it. You take a bite out of that, you get that like sweetness from the sugar, you get that saltiness from the peanut butter, but it's also melty, and you get that bread and the crunch. I was like, oh, magnifique. It was so good. I hope I'm making you all hungry right now listening to this. But I don't even know how I got to talking about peanut butter and toast when I was talking about right, because I was talking about midnight snacks. You know, there was a time where I would also make instant noodles for midnight snacks. But that's also really bad because like from all the sodium, like you wake up very bloated. But god damn it, I'm really hungry right now. I shouldn't be hungry. Oh man, this is bad. Okay, but like, do you guys eat midnight snacks? Like, I'm pretty sure you guys do, especially right now. I feel like not everyone is employed. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are waking up late. But I think the most important thing is like, you know, as long as you guys are still trying to keep active. But I also get very tempting to just lie on the couch because I kind of did that after dinner, which is like a really bad idea, and I fell asleep. I fell asleep for like an hour. It was really weird because like after I ate dinner, it felt like all the energy in my body just like disappeared, and I knocked out. And then Tuna was just kind of like chilling beside me, and then she fell asleep as well. And it's really weird that she's actually sleeping at this time because usually after midnight, because she sleeps the whole day, she would have so much energy. Like, if you guys remember like last episode, she was like running around my room like trying to dig under the litter box or something. Like, but today like she's sleeping peaceful, quietly, which is really good. And it's also really late though, so I think that was all the things I wanted to talk about. Oh wait, no, but I'll still talk about like what. Okay, so like, what do you guys miss? You know, from this quarantine stuff. Like, besides from the food, I wanted to say like I really miss sushi, but at the same time, my favorite sushi place recommended by Jeff I Sushi, AI, I Sushi. They've been primarily doing takeout so much that like I kind of miss sushi, but even when I do, I can just kind of give them a call and be like, "Yo, I want this. I'm gonna come get it." So sushi is not really like a big thing that I miss. I think JBBQ and KBBQ are. Korean food, I can technically just go to Galleria to get it. Chinese food I eat every day. Western food I can cook myself. Yeah, I think it's really just... Yeah, it's really just JBB, the barbecue stuff. Even ramen I can do at home. Huh. Maybe I should cook more. Hard decisions. But yeah, besides from missing food, I think it's the hangouts with your friends. Because like at least with Lucas and like, you know, other Saul people, sometimes, you know, we have these impromptu events on weekends. Sometimes we do tell people last minute. And there's a reason why we sometimes invite people last minute or open invite at the last minute. So there have been events in the past where like, you know, we organize the event, like an impromptu event. We tell people ahead of time. And people sometimes they don't really RSVP and they just show up. Like I've done that before too in the past, but now looking back on it, like for me it's kind of like it's a bit disrespectful to the person that's hosting it because they're already, you know, trying to organize this event and trying to like, you know, keep in contact with, you know, for example, like a restaurant with like head count and everything, right? You know, reservations for seats, especially if we're going with a big party. So there was an event one time where that restaurant actually didn't allow us to make reservations, and it's a really small restaurant. It's actually one of our mods' favorite restaurants, Sally's favorite restaurant, Soon Tofu. So at that time we went to the restaurant, and like I said, it's a really small restaurant. I think max they'd fit like 30 to 40 people, right? And that's fine. But they didn't allow us to make reservations. So like we showed up with a total, I think it was like close to like 20-25 people. And the thing is, not everyone told us they were coming, right? So it was hard for us to be like, hey, can we like get, you know, X amount of a table for X amount of people? It was more like we got spread out throughout the restaurant. And the thing is, when you go into a restaurant like that and you tell them, oh, we have like, you know, over like 10-20 people, all of a sudden, for the restaurants, they start stressing because they're like, oh, like what the fuck, just them hearing that number will make them panic a little bit, which is it's understandable, right? Because then you start getting that feeling of being overwhelmed. But we were still spread out like throughout the restaurant. Some people sat together, some people were at another table, which we were fine. And when you think about it, us doing that, you might say, oh, it's the same as like, if separate parties came in that were the same amount of people. But it's just that number when you tell the server when you walk in, it's like, oh, we have like 20 people, but your restaurant's only like max fit like 40 people, and then some people have to wait, and they start stressing, right? They start trying to think, and when you start trying to think, you start overthinking leads to stress, and they get stressed out, right? And that's, in my opinion, I think that's disrespectful towards the restaurant as well, and like for the people that are hosting or people that are coming with that big party, right? And I get that because like I've worked in the culinary industry before. So back when I worked, like I worked in the kitchen, right? So I would get annoyed too. I mean, it's a slightly different situation, but like at the time, there were a few incidents when I worked where like we were getting ready to close down, and then suddenly a party of like 15 people show up last minute, and it's just like are you serious? I think that the whole idea of people going to a restaurant when they're about to close, I get sometimes like a last minute effort to like get food, but also understand that if a restaurant decides to close at 11, a lot of restaurants tend to pre-close, like maybe an hour and a half earlier. And if you put in an order at like last call or whatever, like, and when I'm saying last call, I'm not saying like all you can eat sushi and you sat for like your maximum hours and they tell you last call, but last call as in like the kitchen's actually closing, and you put in your order, which I know like for servers, like it's their job to go around and ask people like, it's the last call, do you guys still want anything? Because if sometimes when people order like after that, in all honesty, usually we've already shut down most of the stations. So I think back when I worked at the restaurant, I'm not going to name the restaurant, but back when I worked there, if we were closing at like 11 p.m, I think we closed, last call was I think 10:45. Yeah, 10:45, and then usually it would take us at least 2 hours to clean up everything and close down all the stations and have every station set up for the next morning for people who to come in to kind of set up their station, right? So we usually get out at 1 a.m. on weekdays, but like I've had incidences where like we've closed down everything, and then suddenly a server comes in and they're like, oh, like we're so sorry, like I know like we did last call, but like a party just came in, they like ordered this stuff, and it's like we already washed everything, and it's like shit, we gotta like take everything back out, like it was like, for example, like pasta, or like the pasta pots, like I've washed everything, then I gotta put it back, I'm gonna fill it with water again, turn the heat back on, wait for it to boil, and then cook all these things again. So I think from the guests' perspectives, like our perspectives when we're going to a restaurant, be mindful to the restaurant as well, whether it be party size going in, or mainly party size, and like not going into a restaurant a minute before they close and ordering food, because then that, trust me, that pisses off the people in the back, and it pisses off the server. Well, not the servers as much, because I guess they get tipped and everything, which is fine, but the chefs, the cooks, like we get pissed off, right? So I actually don't even remember how I got to this topic again. Alright, we're talking about spoon tofu, right? Yeah, because that party size, it stresses them out, right? And when they stressed out, it kind of leaves a bad impression in their eyes as well, right? Like, I mean, they may not remember you, since, you know, they kind of deal with a lot of customers anyways, but I think it's a respect thing, you know. But yeah, I was able to talk for quite a long time again by myself. What did I talk about? I talked about what did I talk about? Alright, I talked about Animal Crossing. Yeah, I'm still gonna like keep looking for Animal Crossing in the Switch. A side note about Animal Crossing in the Switch, you know those like special Switch versions, like the Super Smash Edition or like the Animal Crossing Edition? Yo, if you go on Amazon and you're looking for those like Switches, the consoles, people are selling it for like over $1,000, and it's just like, what the fuck? I ain't paying $1,000 for that. That shit's worth like what? It looks like it's only worth max $500. So like, I guess at the end of April, if Canada does get new stock of the Switch, I'm probably just gonna get that. But obviously, I'll talk about it when that time comes, right? So recap of what we talked about this episode. Lucas will be back next week. I will make sure of that. We're in state of emergency until May 11th, so we got a long time to go before state of emergency is lifted. We talked about Animal Crossing, the Switch, the price gouging. I talked about Final Fantasy VII, which led to talk about gaming, and then we talked about what we miss during this time of quarantine. And they always say like they hope that we don't, you know, take for granted what we had before the lockdown. I hope we don't either, but yeah, I miss Korean barbecue, I miss JBBQ, and I'm getting hungry, and I talk about midnight snacks. I hope you guys have some really cool midnight snack ideas too, or maybe you guys are healthy and you guys just sleep. But that's all the stuff that I had to talk about, I guess, today. So good night and see you guys next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Sad Boy Podcast.
Please remember to subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and have a nice day, I guess.
Yeah, stay sad or happy.
Sad, happy.
Sad, happy.
Sad Boy.
Sad Boy Podcast.
Sad Boy Podcast. Good night.